Hey, Den family, this is Den Mother Amanda coming back to you live again. Unexpected live feed, and it's like 1 in the morning where I'm at right now. And yes, you read the title right, brain rot of trans ideology, or brain rot of woke trans ideology. Um, why and how it is harmful for the LGBT community. Okay, few things. A lot of people don't understand why and what these transit transition laws are about and against. Why they're against what they're against. Okay, these transgender laws that people are saying are anti transgender. What it actually is against the medical mutilation of children. Okay, people don't want to admit what they really know, that it physically and mentally damages children for the rest of their lives. No ifs, ands, or buts. Why anybody would want to give a child Lupron that is used for convicted sexual offenders and sexual predators of adults and children, things that destroy the reproductive system and sex drive of people, is insane. It's vile and it's disgusting. What you do to these children, you can put when they're put on these medications for puberty blockers, is it completely and totally stops puberty. It is not a pause. Completely and totally stops puberty. Ifs, ands, or buts. If the medical community is telling you that it is a pause, they are outright lying to you. Outright lying. Pharmaceutical companies know this happens with these puberty blockers. Doctors know that it happens. If they say they don't know that it happens, they're liars. Outright lying. And have no business in the medical field. What happens when you put a child on puberty blockers for too long? It destroys their reproductive system. Permanent. And they have no love making gratification at all as adults. None. Zip. Zilch. Zero. 100% of the time. All of the time. Not some of the time, not half of the time, not most of the time, all of the time. Every detransition is started on puberty blockers as a child. It is on YouTube or whatever, and they are honest about it. And they are. Admit that that's exactly what happened. Puberty blockers like Lupron have destroyed any hope of reproduction and intimate capabilities of pleasure and or desire. People act like this is okay. People don't want to hear that it causes harm when they know it causes harm to children. And that's just one part of it. They don't want to. They don't want to recognize the studies have shown that it also causes brain swelling in children. That can and sometimes does lead to permanent brain damage and or blindness. And you want to put your children through the risk of this? That is sickening. That is outright child abuse. Child abuse. It's that simple. You have no right to have a child. If you're not taking them to they need to be taken to a proper therapist, not an affirmative therapist, to get them the right psychological treatment that they need that can help them. And if they need antidepressants and anti-anxiety or other mental health medications, then yes, absolutely. That's what needs to be done. If that's what needs to be done, then that's what it needs to be done. And if they don't have that at their disposal when it's needed, that's child abuse. Children do not need to be medically transitioned, especially when there's no guarantee that that child will continue to remain trans. Can and are children gender confused at times? Absolutely. Most, if not all, are when it comes to that. Not transgender, transsexual. And those who think bisexual, gay, or lesbian means, or playing with opposite gender toys, or wanting to wear opposite gender clothing means that you're trans. No, it does not. Plain and simple. Grow a brain. Or get an anal lobotomy. So you can have your brain pulled out of your flippin' ass. Trans women in women's sports. Absolutely not. Biological women get robbed of their placement in these competitions and or permanently injured. Mentioned this before on other feeds. MMA fighter fractured the skull. A trans woman fractured the skull of a biological woman in an MMA fight within 39 seconds of the first round and bragged about it. And people think this is okay. You're sick. And you're disgusting if you think this is okay behavior. There's another one that was in the Special Forces who woke up to the idea that they shouldn't be fighting, that person shouldn't be fighting biological women as a trans woman. Thank God. I don't agree with the people going into that to begin with. At least, thank God, at least one person has woke up and realized that they don't belong in women's combat sports. I'm not the only one. Caitlyn Jenner is one of them that does not believe trans women should be in women's sports. Thank you, Caitlyn Jenner. Blair White thinks the same thing. Thank you. Buck Angel thinks the same thing. Thank you. I'm a trans woman and I do not belong in women's sports. Even if I was young enough and healthier than what I am, I do not belong in women's sports. Do I like sports? Yes, absolutely. It's time for a new division in sports, all the way around. And now they want to bring it into boxing and kickboxing. And they make up rules, and people say, oh, it's okay because they made rules. Sorry. It's an illegitimate justification for sick people to get involved, for transgender women to get into women's sports, and people to go along with it. It's sickening, vile, and disgusting. Grow some compassion. Women do not deserve it. They deserve better. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. I frankly don't care. Especially when this stuff is becoming harmful to children and adult women, medically and physically harming. There's no less than zero justification. Zero, less than. Ten years ago, this never would have none of this would have ever been thought of to do this to children and women. And now the new thing is kids and kink belong together. Kids and a sexual fetish kink belong together. Whoever thinks they do is sick. They're pedophiles. Probably borderline child rapists, if not child rapists. Can't say for sure, but that's exactly what that's exactly what the thing, or that's exactly what's led to be believed when they want to put those two together. And people support this. Wrong. Pedophilia, they want to rename them MAPS. Minor attracted persons. Still a pedophile. So they can get laws to protect them. We got a law. Go straight to jail. General population. And let it now be known that they're pedophiles. That should be a law, I believe. This idea that you don't need gender dysphoria to be transgender or transsexual is so far from reality. It isn't even anywhere near the Milky Way galaxy. It's so far removed from reality. This stuff that I've just been talking about, all of it, so far, keep it up. Just keep it up. Because you're ruining it for us who have actual gender dysphoria / gender identity disorder and need this medical insurance so we can get what we need for hormone therapy and surgeries. By doing all this crap, we're just making it easy for insurance companies to say, nope, no more. It's not a real thing when it is a real thing. And it's medically needed. All of you who are pushing this radical BS gender ideology is going to destroy it for everybody. And gender ideology being taught in grade school, you're sick. Only a pedophile would think like that. MAPS, minor attracted people. Some AGPs, which is the male form of it, and AAPs, which is the female part of it. It's the same sickness as AGP, but just female version. It's time to stop because it damages the entire LGBT community to the extent they think we're insane when we're not. Do we have issues? Yes. Do we sometimes have mental problems? Yes. Sometimes it's called gender identity, gender disorder, identity disorder, gender dysphoria. Sometimes we have depression. Sometimes we have anxiety. They can be well managed. But keeping this stuff up the way it's going with this radical gender ideology is causing more harm than good. Sorry for all you people who think that Florida bill that DeSantis put in that y'all call it don't say gay. It's not in the bill anywhere. I've successfully gone through all of it. Took about 4 months. We went through it. It's not in there. Where you can't say gay, or where it says you cannot say gay. I dare you to read it and find out and prove me wrong. Prove it. The thing is, you can read it and you can't. You won't be able to. It's time to wake up. This crap is going to infiltrate into adults being harmed and children being harmed, continuing to be harmed and harmed worse than what they already are. I'm sorry, yes. I may sound a little rough around the edges right now. But I am. This is not helping at all. We need to seriously think about what we're saying and what we're doing in this community and the harm it is bringing to the community. I have compassion for everybody in this community, no matter what you identify as. or what you're living as, or whatever your dysphoria is. I have friends that I care about that are probably in about just about every letter in what I like to sometimes call alphabet soup. And I'm not saying that to be derogatory. There's just so many letters in there. It's just like, oh, how can anybody keep up with it and understand what's going on? Can't. It's impossible. It is really impossible. I don't even know if you could program a computer to understand it. You need some sanity and compassion where all sides sit down and have a compassionate, honest talk about facts. Okay, people have feelings about facts, and that's okay. It's okay to have that and care about those facts and people who are going through things. That's the right way to be compassionate about when people are going through things, especially children. And then when children are confused with their gender and or other things, it's our job and priority as caring, loving adults and parents to take them and show them or take them to where we can get them the proper help so they're not confused. Maybe they'll still be a little bit confused. And even if they are, they can get through it safer with more sanity, more compassion, more love. Not just be thrown into the wolves of the medical field and transition. I say wolves because doctors know what it does to the damage hormones does to children, especially puberty blockers. They know, and if they claim they don't, they're incompetent. They know why these things were Lupron was made. And other drugs like exactly similar to it. They know exactly why it was made. Yes, it was also made for certain cancers. It's also made for convicted sex offenders. To protect the population against these convicted sex offenders. And we don't have the capacity to have the desire to do that anymore because of those medications. That's a good thing. That is a good thing. For women and children, it's a good thing. When sexual assaulters are put onto these medications because it helps the safety of women and children. So hopefully these particular people don't repeat offend. So we all know that mental health therapy just doesn't work for it. If it does, I haven't heard about it yet. Doesn't mean that it doesn't. I haven't heard about it yet. And I pay attention to that stuff. Not because I agree with it, because I don't agree with it. I want to know who the pedophiles are so I can keep them away from children. and women and other parts of the population that are susceptible of being hurt by these people. Yes, I know the title of this thing was probably clicky. Hopefully, y'all listen to it. Watch and listen. And take it to heart. So I believe we all want a better world for everybody. Even when we don't agree, I believe we want a better world for everybody. It's okay to not agree. What's not okay is to be one sided and one sided only and not be willing to listen to the other side. That's not okay. I have care and compassion for the trans world, transgender slash transsexual world, those who are medically transitioning. I want to start a nonprofit to help those that can be helped by this with this nonprofit. It's going to start out by helping people get to their appointments when it's out of town. So far out of town, they have a hard time getting there, or can't get there, or can't afford to get there. And I don't mind it helping children as long as it's only for mental health therapy, not puberty blockers, not hormones. And help the children get whatever medication they need for depression, anxiety, or whatever else they may need medication for other than puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones. So not because I don't want them to ever transition, I want to make sure that they remain that way. Most of the time through puberty, they change their minds and end up something else other than trans. Doesn't mean that some do stay on start out as trans, saying they're trans as a child. Will remain that way because some do, but it's a very, very, very small amount. It's exactly why we don't, why we have so many detransitioners, because it's not the right kind of therapy. Is not being able to be received for these people. And I don't mean conversion therapy by talking them out of it. No. Well, the therapy I mean is the compassionate questioning as why they feel this way and believe this way. To find out, see if it just isn't gender confusion. Okay. It's people that have children and adults have a wide variety of likes and dislikes. Some of them overlap from one gender to another, and that's okay. Doesn't mean that they're trans. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're not, but most of the time it doesn't mean they are. There's just children that want to dress and play with different things. Toys, clothes, colors. Okay. That's the part of gender that is, for right now, the lack of a better word. I know the word I want to say, just can't think of it, but lack of a better wording. gender nonconforming, I guess, but not really nonconforming either. That's probably the wrong one to say there. Gosh, yeah, the word is just escaping me. I'll think of it. I will think of it. I just can't. I'm drawing a blank right now. We all deserve better from each other. Human component to it of compassion, grace, dignity, love, and tolerance. Losing that side when it's only one sided. We as people and humans were meant to be compassionate, tolerant, understanding, empathetic, sympathetic, and it'd be nice to see if more of us could have that willingness to have an honest, open-minded conversations about some of these things, and actually look at what is really happening, and why certain things are happening because of certain things happening. Let's be about positive change, not negative change, not being forceful, not shutting each other down because we don't agree with what somebody says or believes. We base it on facts. Then we find compassion, care, empathy, sympathy, and true tolerance. Find things and places where we can come to terms on, make a start, even if it's a small start. Treating respect, dignity, grace, as we should be treating each other. We all have value. We all have importance. We all have worth. Because each and every one of us do have that. And are deserving of that. So I hope it's my hope that we've all stayed on to the end of this. No one told you they love you today. I love you. Thanks for tuning in, listening, and sharing. Have a great rest of your day.